bet my social security number that you will never see Gucci Mane or Pooh Shiesty standing next to each other again, on a picture again, never on a song again. That shit'll never happen.
Damn, man, that's crazy. So that's stamped.
The street's been talking for weeks about this whole situation, and now we finally got some answers. Gucci Mane just broke his silence on getting robbed by his own artist, Pooh Shy, and homie, this response is not what anybody expected. We're talking about deleted posts, money being taken back, and a whole lot of disrespect that's got the hip-hop world shook. But before we get into Gucci Sovich response, we got to break down how we even got to this point. How did a mentor-student relationship turn into one of the most disrespectful betrayals in recent hip-hop history? Stay locked in, because the whole situation is way deeper than y'all think. And Gucci's response just made it even more personal. Let's start with the basics, fam. Gucci Mane, been a legend in this game for over 2 decades. This man helped create the whole trap music sound that runs hip-hop today. From his early mixtapes to building 17 records into a power.
They were saying on Memphis 10, which is another Memphis street subreddit, all right, they're saying, does Pooh still rock with Gucci Mane? This is 18 days ago. This is just 3 weeks ago. They're saying he ain't been around him since he came home, and he mentioned Yo Gotti in his new song. What do you think? And people will be saying he mentioned Yo Gotti because the song is a tribute to Memphis. He also mentioned Lamar Street. FDO is still released under 1017. People are saying he still rocks with Gucci. He said so in a couple interviews. He said Gucci, one of the few that held it down while everyone else flipped, died, or got locked up. They're saying he shouted Gucci out in the XXL interview. But, and this is what Hernandez Govan just told us, man. He said probably feels a certain way about how WAP handled Scar death and the chain situation. People saying, I would, that's my family. What say he wouldn't do the same to me if he can't feed off of me? He says if the chain was property of 1017, then they should have did the honest thing and returned it. I don't like how his family acted like idiots and put it on the internet for everyone to see, who ain't even surprised that it went down like that. It says his cousin died and they paid for the funeral, but got the chains back because Quez and Tim was on some tough shit. Shiesty probably feels some type of way, but then again, on $1 million worth of game, he was like he forever loved Gucci, and was checking up on him in the feds. He talked about him in his XXL interview too. He made it seem like they're still on good terms, but his name is Shiesty, all right? You know he's Shiesty. You know nobody's more Shiesty than him, all right? Hypothetically, even if Shiesty didn't F with him, Gucci and Atlantic ain't no dumbasses. He finished in that contract for however many album it was, but he likely already recouped his advance and all the money they put into him off Back in Blood alone, so he'd just have to push however many projects he has left in his terms. Apparently Pooh's still cool with Gucci, but you a fool if you think he don't respect Yo Gotti as an OG from Memphis. He said he thought about signing with Gotti and Dolph, but ultimately decided to sign with neither since they had beef. He ain't want to be a part of that. He been told that story, but now Young Dolph ain't here no more. So just some more backstory on this chain situation, right? This is Big Scar's brother got on Instagram Live and said that Gucci Mane promised to pay for Big Scar's funeral and then ghosted his family and didn't pay for the funeral. He also said that Gucci Mane asked for Big Scar's 1017 chains back as well. And so these were posts going around on X, basically, just, you know, purporting that same info. I think this is actually a clip.
To see if you gonna pay for the funeral, you blocked them. That's not real, cuz. On God, that's not real. You ain't straight. You ain't straight. That's them folk. Come on now, cuz. You pluck. On God, that ain't straight, cuz. You on here trying to act all real. You post this guy talking about some long live him, bro. You ain't do nothing, cuz. On God. And you ain't getting them chains, cuz. You can't get them chains. There's no way you can get them chains. It ain't no way that's happening. Come on now, fool. You tripping, cuz. Thought we just gonna let that go, cuz? No, it's over. You played. And we don't need your money, nigga. We don't need your money to pay for his funeral, nigga. He was gonna get buried. Either way, it's just a point that you supposed to be.
Our house. Gooch has been discovering and developing talent that goes on to dominate the charts. Now, Pooh Shiesty, real name Lantrell Williams, came up in Memphis, a city that's always been known for producing some of the hardest rappers in the game. Before he ever touched the mic professionally, Pooh was already moving different in Memphis. Street. His name was ringing bells, for all the wrong reasons. But that street credibility would eventually become part of his rap appeal. The young Memphis rapper had that raw, unfiltered energy that reminded people of early Gucci Mane. He wasn't trying to be pretty with his bars. He was telling real stories about real situations. And that authenticity was exactly what caught Gucci's attention. But here's where it gets interesting. Pooh wasn't some unknown kid when Gucci found him. He already had a buzz in Memphis. I already had people talking about his potential. What he needed was someone with the industry connections and experience to take him to the next level. The story of how Gucci Mane discovered Pooh Shiesty is actually pretty wild. Word is that Gucci first heard about Pooh through street connections. People who knew both the music game and the street game were telling Gucci about this young cat from Memphis who had bars and credibility. When Gucci finally heard PEH music, he knew immediately that this was someone special. The raw talent was undeniable, but more than that, PAI had that authentic street perspective that you can't fake or manufacture. In a game full of industry plants and manufactured personas, Pooh Shy was the real deal. The signing process wasn't some long drawn-out negotiation. When Gucci wants someone on his team, he moves fast. He reached out to PA directly, and the conversation was straightforward. Gucci saw the potential. PA needed Thepliform, and 2017 Records needed that Memphis energy. For Pooh, signing with Gucci Mane was like hitting the lottery. He went from being a local Memphis artist to being part of one of the most respected labels in hip-hop. Gucci didn't just sign him. He took him under his wing, gave him access to top producers, and put the full weight of 117 behind his career. The early days of their relationship seemed perfect. Gucci was the veteran mentor. Pa was the hungry student. And together they were making music that had the streets and the industry paying attention. Nobody could have predicted how this story would end. But then life happened. Pushy caught a federal case and ended up doing time, which put his career on pause.
Popular rapper arrested. He's accused of shooting a security guard at a South Florida gentleman's club and will remain behind bars. A judge denied bond for 21-year-old Lontrell Williams.
And it lands a rapper in jail. 7 Sheldon Fox with the exclusive.
Rhode Island says you're wanted with it.
Mr. Williams, you were arrested for pursuant to an arrest.
Pause right when it was starting to take off for most artists. This would have been the end of the story. But Gucci Mane isn't most label owners. Throughout PA's incarceration, Gucci kept his name alive. He would mention him in interviews, post about him on social media, and make sure people didn't forget about the young Memphis rapper. This kind of loyalty from a label boss is rare in the industry, and it showed how much Gucci believed in Pa's potential. While Pa was locked up, the hip-hop landscape kept evolving. New artists emerged, trends changed, and the game moved on. But Gucci made sure that when PA came home, he would still have a place in the industry. The anticipation for Pooh Shiesty's release was real. Fans, industry insiders, and fellow artists were all waiting to see what he would do with his second chance. Gucci had kept the door open, but it was up to PA to walk through it. When PA finally got released, Gucci was one of the first people to welcome him home publicly. The Instagram post was "You and Gucci," expressing how proud he was of his artist and how excited he was to get back to making music together. But something had changed during PBS time away. When he came home, instead of immediately reconnecting with Gucci, and then 17PU started gravitating toward Memphis connections, specifically toward Yo Gotti and CMG. Now this is where the story gets complicated, because Yo Gotti and Gucci Mane have serious history. We're talking about a beef that goes back years and involves some very personal issues. The beef between Gucci and Gotti isn't just about music. It's about respect, territory, and some very personal violations. The root of their conflict goes back to Gucci's wife, Kishai Kawire. Before she was Mrs. Gucci Mane, Kishai had a relationship with Yodi. This happened while Gucci was incarcerated. And when he found out, it created a rift that never healed. In street culture, certain lines can't be crossed. And messing with someone's woman while they're locked up is definitely one of those lines. So, when Pooh Shiesty started showing love to Yo Gotti publicly, it wasn't just about Memphis loyalty. It was about choosing sides in a conflict that had very personal implications for Gucci. Every time Pub posted about CMG or showed up at Gotti events, it was like a slap in the face to the man who had kept his career alive. The Memphis connection was strong though. Pa was from there, his family was there. And Yo Gotti represented hometown success in a way that Gucci, as an Atlanta artist, never could. But loyalty in hip-hop isn't just about geography. It's about who was there for you when you needed them most. Then came the incident that nobody saw coming. Reports started circulating that Pooh Shiesty had actually robbed Gucci Mane. Not just disrespected him or violated their business relationship, but actually took his jewelry and money at gunpoint. According to the streets, this happened during a studio session in Dallas. The story goes that PA and some of his people were in the studio with Gucci when things got heated. Whether it was about money, respect, or the ongoing tension over POS Memphis connections, the situation escalated quickly. The details are still murky, but multiple sources confirmed that Gucci was forced to give up his watch and wedding ring. For someone like Gucci Mane, who's been in the streets and the industry for decades, Getting robbed by his own artist is the ultimate disrespect. What made it even worse was that this wasn't some random street robbery. This was a calculated move by someone Gucci had trusted, someone he had invested in, someone he had treated like family. The betrayal cut deeper than just the financial loss. The fact that Pooh's people were involved made it clear that this wasn't a spur-off-the-moment decision. This was planned, which means Pooh had been thinking about violating Gucci for a while before he actually did it. For Gucci, this situation had to feel like the ultimate betrayal. He had kept Pooh Shiesty's name alive while he was incarcerated, continued to mention him in conversations, and publicly welcomed him home with support and encouragement. From Gucci's point of view, he had done exactly what a mentor and label head was supposed to do. So when Pooh began distancing himself and aligning elsewhere, it felt less like a business disagreement and more like a personal stab in the back. This was not just an artist leaving a label. This was someone Gucci believed in turning his back on him. But what makes Gucci's response interesting is how controlled and calculated it was. Instead of reacting emotionally or jumping on social media to vent, Gucci chose silence and action. The first visible move was subtle but powerful. He deleted the welcome home post for Pooh Shiesty. In today's social media-driven industry, that kind of deletion is loud. It signals separation. It tells fans and insiders that whatever relationship once existed is now over. Gucci was making it clear that he was no longer standing next to Pooh, publicly or privately. The real power move, though, came on the business side. People close to the situation say Gucci immediately began reclaiming whatever resources he had provided. Whether it was advance money, jewelry, or other forms of support, he moved quickly to recover what he could. This hit Pooh where it hurt the most, his pockets and his image. Gucci did not need a diss track to make his point. Cutting off money and opportunity sent a stronger message than any song ever could. By doing this legally and quietly, Gucci avoided giving anyone ammunition to paint him as reckless or emotional. This approach showed why Gucci has survived in the industry for so long. He understands that emotional reactions. This situation also exposed the deeper tension between Memphis and Atlanta in hip-hop. Both cities have strong identities and loyal fan bases. For Pooh, choosing Memphis was not just a label decision, it was about identity and belonging. In Memphis, he was a hometown hero, someone people felt represented their struggle and sound. In Atlanta, he was one of many artists under Gucci's umbrella. Yo Gotti in CMG offered him something different. Not just money, but the chance to be positioned as a central figure in Memphis hip-hop. However, loyalty in hip-hop is supposed to go beyond geography. When someone invests in you, stands by you during incarceration, and helps build your career, that creates a bond that should matter. Pooh's decision showed that hometown loyalty mattered more to him than that bond. From Gucci's perspective, that choice erased everything they had built together. It suggested that no matter how much support he gave, it would never outweigh regional pride. This likely hurt Gucci on a personal level. He did not just sign Pooh for numbers. He believed in his talent and potential. He saw something special and put real time, money, and emotion into developing him. Watching that artist turn away had to feel like wasted effort. The industry noticed this too. Other artists under the 1017 umbrella were watching closely, wondering how loyalty is judged and what happens when it is broken. Industry veterans found themselves in an uncoupled position. Many could understand both sides, but very few could openly defend Pooh's actions. Robbing or betraying a mentor crosses a line that most people in the business will not justify. In Memphis, opinions were split. Some fans supported Pooh for choosing his city, while others felt he could have handled things with more respect. Representing your hometown does not require disrespecting the people who helped you rise. Atlanta, on the other hand, largely sided with Gucci. Within that community, disrespecting a legend is taken personally. Gucci represents more than himself. There, he represents an era, a movement, and a city's influence on modern hip-hop. Going against him is seen as going against Atlanta itself. In the end, both sides lost something. Pooh lost a powerful mentor and one of the strongest industry connections he could have had. Gucci lost an artist he genuinely believed in and invested in. For Pooh, the short-term gain of hometown acceptance may not outweigh the long-term cost of burning bridges with someone whose influence runs deep across the industry. Gucci's network is vast, and having him as an enemy can quietly close doors in ways that are never obvious. For Gucci, this situation reinforced a harsh truth. Loyalty cannot be bought. You can give opportunities, money, and exposure, but you cannot force gratitude or commitment. This story became a lesson for the entire hip-hop community. Even the strongest mentor-student relationships can fall apart when pride, regional loyalty, and poor decisions collide. This conflict also shows how closely personal relationships and business are tied together in hip-hop. Old beefs, like the one between Gucci and Yo Gotti, can create situations where younger artists are forced to choose sides. In this case, Pooh chose wrong in the eyes of many. Gucci had every right to feel betrayed, and his response was firm but controlled. He did not destroy himself trying to make a point. He simply removed Pooh from his world.